Hi, guys. Welcome to Weekly Travel Updates. I'm Melinda Fargus, and this has been a fabulous week. But there are some things going on in this business, and one of them is travel scams. I'm going to tell you about that in just a minute. Then, our second big story tonight is all about how the world or the globe is exploding. I'm going to show you data from 13 different volcanoes that are active today. And we've already had more than 40 earthquakes today. And, well, I'll get into it in just a moment. But the third thing is exciting because I have so many people who say, I want to go on a river cruise. When it gets down to that, free airfare deal, let me know. Well, it's going on. And it is $29.99 with airfare from most U.S. cities. You need to check on it. If it's on your bucket list for this fall or next spring, reach out to me, 336-222-TRIP, 336-222-8747, because this sale with Avalon closes tomorrow. Okay, let's go back to these scams. I'm going to tell you some stories that are going on. The first one, they're all, you just can't believe that people have gotten to this point. But I want to be able to see my comments tonight. Hang on one second. It's cruises, hotels, resorts. The first one I want to tell you about was on a Royal Caribbean ship. The travelers on their very first day had checked in, and like many times, if you arrive early and say that you're on board before 1 p.m., many times the cabins aren't available until after 1. And so you go get something to eat or hang out by the pool or a bar or wherever you want to hang out. Anyway, the story with this couple was they got a phone call right before walking out the door to dinner. And the agent said, hey, the card that you registered with has declined. Can you provide me the full number, please? And the lady said, what? Yes, my job is to call and replace the cards that were either put in incorrectly or for some reason it's not available. It says it's not available, but with a new card number, I can have you all set up so that you can enjoy the evening's activities. Thinking this was a little hokey, the lady said, I'll just come downstairs. And she said, oh, the line is very long. And it still sounded hokey, so she hung up. Moral of the story of number 1, great job. That's what you do. You hang up and call them back. So the lady and her husband leave the cabin and go down to the purser's desk, where they're told that no one from the purser's desk called their room. And she said, oh, but it was just moments ago, and you put it to my cabin. And she gave her the room number, and she said, I just don't understand that. Let me look at the call log. And she said, yes, there was a call forwarded to your room. Let us listen to it, and we'll get back to you after dinner. After dinner, they went back, and somebody had called Royal Caribbean, a ship-to-shore call, like anybody could do. If you know the ship date, sailing date, and the ship name, and the travelers, and their room number, they'll pass that call directly to that person's room. Well, in listening to the call, the caller to the ship said, hey, I need to reach somebody in cabin 804. Can you ring that room, please? And they rang it without asking security questions. This person almost got somebody's credit card, and it looked as if it was a call from the purser's desk within the ship. That's just sad. One very similar that many people have complained about, and complained about to the point that one person, they know that she's done this. But here's the story. You get a call out of the blue. Since the other one was Royal Caribbean, let's just stick with that. You get a call from Royal Caribbean and they say, hey, your cruise has been canceled, and it's my job to rebook you on a similar sail date, or tell me how I can work this out for you. Now, while it does seem unusual, it does happen. Most of the time, it's not a phone call. It's an email first. And if you use a good travel agent, your travel agent will be the one to call you with your options after we look at what's available. But this person didn't book the travel agent. When she spoke to her husband about it, he said, no, we've got to go that date. So the agent was providing other ships in that same week and thought possibly they had something. And she said, well, what's the process from here? And she said, well, there's a $150 change fee. That should give you a red flag. Call your travel agent if they ever want to charge you more. She said something to the effect of, but you changed this. If I pay $150, what am I going to get? I take that back. It was $100. The last story was $150. So for $100, what am I going to get? And she said, oh, but you'll get it back in onboard credit, which wasn't true. But they'll do almost anything. They'll promise you almost anything to get your card number. So the story went that they recapped another ship, and thinking that she was only charging $100, she said, can you charge my card on file? And the lady said, oh no, I'm not authorized to do that. We can't see your card. It's a security thing. And once again, this was a savvy traveler, because she just could not believe that this was happening. And she said, I think I'll call and check on it. And the person was fine, acted very kind. Okay, thank you very much. Hung up the phone. But she did go into her phone to see where the call was from, and she called Royal Caribbean, and sure enough, there was not a call. It was just speculative. How people know that you're going on a cruise, well, I don't know, but people are getting by with this. And it doesn't just happen on cruises or to do with cruises. I posted earlier today a link from an Instagram story that I read about another travel scam. And this was at a hotel. Her name is Jen X, Jenx. And on her profile, it says something like, I panicked with the delay. You can watch that, or look, I posted it on my Facebook page. But anyway, what happened was she was sailing out of Bayonne, New Jersey, and she only lived 2 hours away. So she thought, what's the need in going a night early? We'll just take the train the next morning. So she picked up her mom, got to the train station in well-sufficient time, and they got on the train. And she texted her husband. She said, we're on the train. We're on our way. He said, thanks. Let me know how things go. They're bebopping down the train tracks, and everything seems wonderful. It's a nice sunny day. And lo and behold, the train stops. And the conductor comes on the train and says, we've lost power. And if you need to make arrangements, we don't know how long this is going to be. So she really did panic. She picked the phone, called her husband, and her husband said, do you want me to come get you? She said, yeah, but we're going to miss our window of check-in from 11 to 12. Now, the ship didn't leave until 3:30, so they had time. And so she told him where she was, and her husband came to get her. Meantime, she called Royal Caribbean, and this really was Royal Caribbean. And she was in the midst of all of this confusion going on because of the train stopping and people now trying to make alternative plans. And she was on the phone. She didn't really hear all that she said, but the lady was willing to help her. And she sounded like, yeah, you know, we can switch you to the earlier time. I mean, to the later time. The all aboard is not until 3 p.m. And she said, well, would you do that, please? She said, yes, ma'am, but there is a fee to do that. And she said, you're kidding me. A fee to change my arrival time? And she said, oh, yes, ma'am. If you didn't arrive at 11, you've taken somebody else's spot. And, you know, we have to charge that in order to get your schedule in place. And savvy travelers, she left a very good video. She hung up and she called back, and it was not true. Royal Caribbean did not charge a fee to change an arrival time, but her mistake was she was panicked. She just Googled Royal Caribbean, and I guess whatever looked official to her, she chose, but it was not Royal Caribbean. It was somebody who posted an ad in the Google listing, and it happened to be the one that she got. So in her statement, I was proud to share it. She said, the first thing I would tell people is to use a travel agent. Because she started out in the story, and it's 12 minutes long, but it's worth it. You know, I like to control my own things. I like to book everything. People, you can do that. Go book everything and then call me. I can take it over anytime within 7 days without the first bit of problem. I have several guys whose wives really do like to be their own travel agents. And so when they book it and show their husband, then I get the reservation information and we add Action Travel to it. It's not a problem. And then you have somebody, an expert, that will help you with all of the decisions along the way for your next getaway. Now, don't forget, if you're interested in this AVALON Rivercruise special, AVALON is part of Globus Journeys, Globus family of brands. It is the first river cruise that I did. I chose it because there's fewer people, the service level was rated much higher, and the food was rated much higher. This river cruise is a window for $3,000. It's a window, and that's what kind of room I had. So you could see out. If you were sitting on the bed, you could see the sky, but you couldn't see the water unless you stood up and looked out the window. And there's other promotions, you know, for upgrading to a room with a balcony or a full window view. Anyway, reach out to me if I can help you. I would be honored. It's been a fabulous week this week. Reacquainted with some old friends that I did their travel years ago. And I'm going to tell you, we did an all-inclusive in Jamaica for just a little more than $10,000 for 2 people for 28 nights. If that sounds appealing, hit me up, 336-222-TRIP. And until next week,